pretty bizarre football game. A lot of different things that occurred. The first thing that's got to come out of my mouth is the incredible energy and effort and the resiliency that the staff displayed, that the players displayed. There was never a moment, really never a moment that you thought that the team was ready to shut down. And, coming off a tough loss last week, didn't start well. There were a lot of questions answered in that regard. I like this team. I've liked this team since January. I'm not going to change my tune. We have a lot of people that can make plays. I've told you that time and time again. That's very obvious to the naked eye when you watch this game. The parts that hurt and the parts that you can't quite put your finger on is why we struggle in areas of execution that have kind of just crept in. And that's my responsibility. We have to play clean. We can't give up big plays. All we have to do is execute what we do, and you won't. That's my area of responsibility. We have to take care of the football and execute flawlessly on offense. And that's my area of expertise and my area of responsibility. This team has to play really well in the kicking game, and I've said that time and time again, and I know we can. And we're doing well, but I think there's another consistency level that we're looking for in all three phases. So we can't work harder. This team works as hard at practice. Our staff works as hard and is as dedicated to each other. And there's not a lot of me people around this program. But what we have to do is find every team is a little different, and you got to stir it till you find the right mix of what we're trying to accomplish out there. I mentioned this on Tuesday. I'm far from frustrated. I'm disappointed. I'm hurt for our squad. You make tough decisions during the week, make tough decisions, the fake punt during a ball game. You anguish over decisions sometimes of who you're playing and what you're not, But you just have to make decisions and move forward. It's not for the weak. And I can promise you, we're not going away. And this team is not about to go away. We got too many things to build on, and unfortunately too many things to correct. But they're correctable, and we can approach things that way. So I really can't tell you many more particulars until I study this game. There's so many bizarre parts of it to look at. Why they ran the ball a little better than we thought we would. Why the big plays? Why, we'll look at that and what brought about some of the turnovers, or et cetera, et cetera. But this is a game we'll need to remember, not only as a team but as a program, because we're better than what we played, and it'll be somewhere along the way. It'll be good for us to remember this one as we continue to build. So I'll take your questions.
Coach, it's never fun to come up short in a game like that, but years ago a Duke team wouldn't have been that close. So you had to be a little happy with the resiliency that they kept coming back, and it looked as if they could give up.
Yeah, I am happy with the resiliency, and I'm proud of the resiliency. We also would not have been able to come back. We don't have good players. We got people that can make plays on both sides of the ball, and we've just got to find all of the ways to make that occur on a consistent basis. And football, the balls go bounce funny, a call goes away here, one there, one decision you make works, one doesn't. You decide whether you're going to return a punt or block a punt or fake a punt or go for it with your offense or whatever, but you just keep mixing and stirring, and that's what I mean. You don't die with those things. The thing I want to do though is the consistency. That's a little bit of a mystery for me. That's not how we practice. We can't go in and out. You saw our defense second half. Stymied them pretty well. And there was something there, and we'll look at it. And it will be something not just rah-rah energy, it will be something physical, something we're doing better. And we just got to study it and evaluate it and just aim for it. Now we go, 8 more. What's going to happen? Got a lot of opportunity in this season. And so that's kind of the message in the locker room. We are going to move forward.
With how well Pitt runs their play actions, was it more important than normal to stop the rush early in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it this week. The quarterback's got a big time on, big time on, big time. The 2 receivers are outstanding. They go into those big sets. They give you wings. They make you set the edge. They're able to isolate those guys at times on safeties. You just have to play on top of them, and sometimes you don't. So as safeties start seeing run and seeing run and seeing run and seeing run, therein lies the issue. It's age old. It's not new. It's difficult when a team can control the line of scrimmage, and they did early.
David, I know you said you need to look at the tape for some of this, but there were the back-to-back touchdowns where Dwayne was caught in that man coverage there. Was that a schematic thing or a breakdown?
Well, it's not man coverage. When you play a zone, you got to first look at the formation there. They're in a tight formation. They're in a run-tight formation. So you got to set the edge. So if you roll a corner up, then the safety's in a deep zone. So it's all zone. It's not man-to-man. And when you're in a deep zone, you're trying to keep it all in front of you. Well, you get mesmerized if you're not careful at safety. I don't have to see the tape to know. You get mesmerized at safety with a play fake. They're big. They put that ball in there, and by the time you think it's passed, it is passed. Well, that's too late with a guy that runs as well as their guys do. So it puts you in an awkward circumstance. And so, at times when you're in zone, you want somebody to get a hand on them underneath. And if we don't get a hand on them underneath, and the guy's on you in a little bit more of a hurry, you practice those things against your show team, but they don't execute it as well. So sometimes even early in the game, you got to err. If you become a more experienced player back there, you got to err on the side of keeping it in front of you. And you may not be able to support it as early as you can, but young men are fighters and competitors, and if they come out being successful running the ball on us, everybody wants to stop the run. And there are people that are pass first, and there are people that are run first, and you can't cross over in that circumstance. And it is a very age-old thing. A lot of what they do is kind of what I used to do offensively when we were big, and so and our defense doesn't see it all the time from us, so it's a little different.
A couple of you guys mentioned not coming out in the beginning games with the energy and intensity they needed to. What did you see, and how do you deal with it?
That would be news to me. I don't know who said that, but they're really not telling the truth. That team was about as cranked up as you could get. So that's just kind of the players saying something. There's no validity to that. They were about to knock the locker room doors down. There was a ton of energy out there. On the field, on the sideline, in practice all week, at the motel, everything you wanted in that regard. So, that's just not the case. I'm sorry, it's not true.
Do you know what to attribute the start to then?
The start, we
How
got
to get
blocked.
started.
I mean, we just got flat blocked. I mean, we couldn't get off blocks. I'm sitting there looking at everybody stuck on a block, and I kept telling our coaches, I said, I think if we can just hang on, we'll get used to this tempo of this offense. We'll get there. We just got to keep fighting, be patient, and then, Lord, then offensively we were misfiring, and we felt like we had a really good matchup going into this game offensively, and we did. There's no question we did. But shooting yourself in the foot, and then, it's still a football game with everything we did in the first quarter, and it wasn't emotion, it was execution. With everything we did, it's still a close football game. There's 12 minutes to go suddenly in the second quarter, and it's a 13-point game after all of that. After 2 turnovers and 2 long touchdown passes and, but it's merely execution. And that's the part, early or late, I can't, I'm trying to find out why, why are we not executing? I'm not worried about us playing hard. We play hard every snap. We're a team that practices in the morning and they come out and practice on fire. I mean, we don't wait. We're going into team. We're going into competing against each other. Right after we kick field goals, we're going team periods, and it's going ones against ones. So we don't wait to get started. It's one of the reasons we do it.
How much
Can you talk
to start
about,
fast.
sorry, Coach. Can you talk about Cash and Young Wiseman and their play on the defensive there, leading the tackles?
Well, they were all over the place. Obviously they were put in circumstances when you get into those tight sets, and particularly Jeremy, that you're going to have to make a bunch of plays. Now, it hurt us some in the passing game, in the width of the passing game, which bothers me too, not just the long balls. Those are things that I call easy, where you just take it and dump it to a guy in the flat. So you have to be able to play both, and boy, what a challenging position those safety positions are. And, we got to look at that. They played good, but I would much rather linebackers be our leading tacklers, which is kind of what we've been doing. So, I'm sure they did some good things. Most of those are assists, which is really better than unassisted tackles. But again, I got to watch this tape before I say too much about what any individual player accomplished out there.
Your freshman defensive backs seemed to get a lot of plays today, in the second half. Was that a matter of you were looking for some answers after what happened in the first half?
No, they've earned playing time. They're practicing that way. And it just makes us a better